All right. Welcome to the next episode of the Talented 10th podcast. I'm here with Rakeem Oliver. And in our latest episode, we're going to go over appreciation.
Yep.
I now have the chapters in character. I said chapters of my life, but it's called chapters in character. It's actually hanging in my house now with QR codes for y'all to subscribe and listen.
Which looks really good, by the way. I really like that.
May show a shot. I don't know if I want everybody to see all of my house, but I guess at this point we've been virtually all over my living room and kitchen. But we're going to go over appreciation as one of those character traits. I appreciate all the feedback on understanding and altruism, particularly from brothers in the bond and who are older that I remember that didn't know if they learned that lesson when they were matriculating through. I wasn't sure, but they sure get it now. So I appreciate that feedback. So we'll go over appreciation. I wanted to ask you about what did I say I was going to ask you about sports wise? We were going to talk about the Patriots and like this off season with Tom Brady getting ready to go in the booth, and he had a roast, and he had a lot of the former Patriots there, and they retired his jersey, and Bill and him are cracking jokes, and seems to be in a good place. So we'll talk about that.
Yep.
And then you were going to ask me about...
I was going to ask you about...
like great power conflict, I think.
Power conflict of... Let me check that out real quick. So since 1990, we haven't had a great power conflict, and it looked like we were headed there.
Yep, with China or Russia or a combination of...
Do you think we're prepared? How do we prepare?
Yep.
Because it seems like it haven't been nothing... very big probably since World War II. I mean, you had the little stuff after that, but with what's all going on, that's a possibility to be on the table too.
Yep. So we'll go over those three things. Appreciation as a character trait, kind of the Patriots, and kind of, are they mending fences? Have they moved on? Are they good? What's up? Then great power conflict. We're recording here on Thursday, and the presidential debate is tonight, so we'll probably talk about that next time. But ready to jump in. But as is our ritual, when we don't forget, or when Rakeem doesn't forget,
we've been on it pretty solid.
Which he basically forgot today.
I did, but you rebounded and recovered though. I got one in treat for next time.
So got some Basil Hayden today. Brother Nick Glover would be happy we're having basil. So it's a Basil Hayden dark rye. Yep. We've talked before. My favorite rye is Angel's Envy rye.
Yep.
I haven't had this yet. It took me forever to take the wrapper off. I don't know what's going on with them, but let's try that out and let's jump into appreciation.
Yeah, this be my second rye. I only had Angel's Envy, so we'll check it out. See how it's hitting. Look good though. Look real good.
It's definitely dark. So let's see how that goes. While I wait on the first question from Keem, key thing, because I got to ask this question by a mentee. When you're pouring on a big rock, you want to make sure it tempers in the glass. So you want it to either sit out in the glass, or one of the tricks is to spin it in the glass so it'll bring it up to temp. That way, when you pour it, it won't crack, and it'll actually last as a big rock longer, and it won't melt as fast.
You know that.
Yep.
When I get mine, I throw it on there, pour it right on there.
Yep, and you probably sound like your knees, huh?
Look good though.
Sound like my knees and my back.
My knees still fresh, surprisingly.
Yeah. Your hamstring isn't.
No, they shot.
Yeah. Anyway, damn, you drinking it like juice. What's the what's the how do we jump into appreciation?
Let's jump in with what appreciation mean to you.
So in recording the episode, as of July 1, I got a new role. So as I did with the last episode, I go through kind of when I discovered the power of appreciation when I was younger, some of the another kind of vignette, so to speak, of how I realized the power of not just feeling appreciated, but showing appreciation, particularly as I come to grips with the fact that I always underestimate how much certain people, if not most people, respect me and respect what I say and do. And so because I underestimate that for my own good, because my ego would run amok, I already have one. So if I start reading into that too much, I'll be bad off. But I had to realize, like, the more that you're respected, the more people look to you, the more people follow you, and sometimes the more they need your appreciation because it matters more to them. And so when you don't see yourself, at times when you don't see yourself the way that others see you, it's hard for you to deliver what they need for you. And so appreciation is a two-way street, and it's important to understand the power of it without it letting it, destroy your ego and overinflate it. But what I was getting to is, as of July 1, I started a new position as no, you can't, Sarah. I already got the job. I got a new role at Walmart Plus as the director of business strategy. Highly excited to work again with some people I'm familiar with. Excited to have a team. I've always wanted to keep this podcast personal, so I won't go too deep into the job itself, but that journey to finally getting it, and my family, Rakeem and others, knew kind of I was at an inflection point in career and I was ready for the next step, and I was seeking support in areas that I wasn't necessarily getting it. And the level of appreciation I have for my mentors and my friends and my family who see that, understand that, come up to see me because they know if I ask, it's because I need it. My brother, my dad, Rakeem, being able to spend time, making sure I was able to see Chris, being able to take some time away with Jared and Mike and Joshua Tree, and then being able to go see Carrie, Will, some friends from home or from school in Dallas, and just recharge in the midst of 4 interviews and not knowing how it's going to shake out. To be going over appreciation at the time in which I was leaning on others really brought home in a very insane way how important friends are, but how important showing how much they mean to you are, how important mentors are, making sure that you're developing a relationship that's real, that's not based on leveraging them for things you need. And then, being able to have the confidence that I've had mentors now asked to be my sponsor in my career. And being able to see what that really means. To be supported in a way that is above and beyond is so appreciation. I've both expressed, I've both felt, and I've not just felt it, I've felt it in a very intense way in 2024.
And that's the thing I was about to get to next, which is
Both, and by the way, both the lack of appreciation and also the depth of appreciation I've experienced in 2024. It's the full thing.
And I was gonna get to that because you have always showed, you know what I'm saying, appreciation that you have given and done for others. And then it was a time for others to show you the appreciation. Because sometimes when we always give an appreciation, we may not give an opportunity if everything's going good for us and stuff, for others to really show their appreciation for us. And so over the last few months or so, did it feel good to be able to see the appreciation that you get back from others who you give to when it is a time? And did it give you a new light on how you view their appreciation? Because, you know, usually, like, we can always sit and talk about appreciation. I can always sit and say appreciation and for the ones and stuff. But, like, the true appreciation is when there's something you really need or going through that it's a question of who gonna give it to you or when. You don't know.
Yeah.
People may catch you from a left eye that you didn't even know or thought you weren't on. You know what I'm saying? And that appreciation just come. You're like, oh wow. And I got a group behind me or a circle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I text the group. I remember I said, like, and this is before things really got going, but I'm like, and I said to Mike, Jared, and Keem in our group, like, don't underestimate the power of mentors in this professional environment. And I think from one of the other three, it was taken as like, you know, how kiss asses get ahead. And it's like, no, like, things can happen, things can change. All of them aren't even things that you had anything to do with. And it's not just what can someone do, it's how can someone help you work through the process. Because man, we have professional setbacks, so to speak, and then we always hear about them, but they're really not setbacks truly until it swallows you up. It makes you not want to compete. It makes you want to mail it in. It makes you want to say, fuck that company or this or that. And that's what makes it bad. I've had mentors professionally, internal, external, in the area I work in, outside the area I work in the business, in compliance, and in legal. You need more than just where you're at. And a lot of people don't understand that. So to answer your question, I have to answer it this way. The appreciation I received in my time of need was only there because I appreciated the relationships before I needed it.
Okay. Yep. I like that. That's
I will never ask a favor of anybody unless it's needed. And I certainly won't do it immediately. Okay. There are people who go years, develop a relationship with me, whatever, and we never ask each other for anything. Yeah. And that's not a technique. That's just how I am. And so, yes, it felt good that when you needed people or when you were in a valley, that you are shown that the people you value you all the same. And that, I'm going to tell you, it gives you a newfound confidence in living this thing called life, because things are going to happen.
Yes. It is.
You're going to work for people who you're just oil and water.
Yes. Go through stuff or relations or whatever. And some failure's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Or something. You know,
and how it happened sucked. I mean, I won't go into the details.
Right.
But about how it happened. It's a long story, so I don't want to make it sound like I've been like, things are terrible. I just got promoted. I'm fine. Like,
So we just talking about the appreciation of the time off that you was
Absolutely.
able to enjoy with all your people that you talked
Yep.
to, even talking and speaking with your mentors and all your friends and your tight groups. And that's the thing. Sometimes
And
you
you
got to
see who checks on you.
right. And
You
so
see who really
yeah, and
you
sometimes
see.
you sit there pause button for a second. Like usually we can be out there at every event and all that stuff. Well, you're not really gonna notice who appreciate you not because you out there in the mix, so they're gonna talk to you whatever. But like when you take a pause on life, you ain't in the know, you ain't in the mix, you ain't at the hottest thing that's going on, the hottest event that we got going on or whatever. Your friends out there, whatever, and then you wonder like, all right, who checking on you or who's seeing how you doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Who's seeing how the kids is or whatever the case may be.
And I don't need this. That wasn't a dig at people who haven't checked. Oh, it's fine.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It
100%.
but
It
you
just
know what
make
I'm
you
saying.
sit
It's
back and appreciate the ones, it ain't a knock at nobody that ain't or nothing, but it just make you sit back on life when you pause for a second and in the moment enjoying it and you just sit back and like, man, like,
pretty
I
good.
really appreciate it is. I'm really appreciative of, the bees or whoever, that's, reach out to me or talk to me on a regular because it can be overlooked. Some stuff can go, for granted that you don't even notice and like, wow. But vice versa, isn't what you gave out is what you assumably is getting in when
Yeah.
at the time.
Well, and what I always say, like, or not, what I choose to believe. I don't know if it's actually true, but what I choose to believe is these are those moments where, if you believe in God, if you believe in a different power, whatever,
God.
where it's spring cleaning. It's a way to clean up your life a little bit and get back to it. And the last thing I'll say is I appreciate people who appreciate me and not what I do for them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um,
For sure, some will do because they need something from you.
yeah, some people want you to be a useful tool, and when you're
Right.
not willing to be a tool for them, they have no use for you. I've been blessed to have people who give a damn, even like when I don't even report to them, when I can't do anything for them.
Right.
And when they ask me to do something, they know I'll tell them if I can or can't do it. But if I can't do it, it's a really good reason why I can't.
Yeah.
And people, Americans we don't do a good job of seeing the value in non-transactional stuff. It's like, what can you do for me? It's like, it's quid pro quos too much.
Yes.
And it's like, how many relationships have you had where it is an imbalance?
Right.
You are giving more than they're giving, but they're giving you more of what they have
Yeah.
than you are. You just have more to give.
Yeah, true. Very true.
And see, like, people don't understand. I respect that, particularly in professional. This is the last comment I'll make. Particularly in a professional setting when you're dealing with people who have more on their plate than you, who make time for you. One of the last conversations I had with one of my mentees who's no longer at the company was he kept rescheduling our meetings, our touch bases.
Mm-hmm.
Totally fine. But, after a few times, you're like,
Right.
what are you? And so I was like, finally, well, my supervisor asked me to do something, so I needed to move. I was like, that many times? I was like, our time is flex time, huh? Like if you're in a crunch during the day, you look at our time as the time to get 30 minutes back. I was like, I would advise you when you have a monthly, especially a quarterly,
Yeah.
you keep it.
Yeah.
If there is something that's that big of a thing, it happens. Make sure you say that in an email, but like the 30 minutes 4 times a year, every quarter, that 2 hours a year, or that 6 hours a year.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell everybody here now, all the stuff I just said about how people are there and you develop real relationships that live outside of work, outside of what you can do for me, outside of being a peer, outside of even mentorship, into sponsorship and true investment in who you are on it, in and out of the office. You ain't going to get that without making the time.
For sure.
It ain't going to happen.
For sure. I mean, you got to make some time for sure for things you want or trying to do, establish relationships, friendships, businesships. I don't even know if that's a word, but whatever it is, like you got to.
He just combined business relationships into one. That's all.
Business-ships, trademark that. But I'm just saying, though, so it's just whatever it is, and I get that. And so.
I appreciate you.
Always appreciate you.
I really do.
We tell it, we express it, and he ain't got to be expressed most times. And for people, our relationship ain't never been a "what can you do for me" thing. Mm-hmm. I don't think we honestly done asked anything for nothing heavy more than just some time and just us being us.
Helping build something or something like that.
So
the stuff that don't count.
Right, stuff that don't count 100%. And so the last thing I guess I would say or ask is there other things you can appreciate than humans, I guess?
Oh.
Do your appreciation of, I really appreciate something, maybe a rule or a gadget or whatever.
Yeah.
Or whatever the case may be. Is there some other stuff you think you could or would appreciate or
that's a fantastic question that I didn't address in the episode. But off the top of my head, and we'll kind of get into it with the question about great power conflict. But separate from that is, and maybe I'm jaded because of going to law school and all of that, but the appreciation for, like, as imperfect as it may be, the rule of law and the order that it provides us as a society.
Okay.
And, like, relative truth, like the things that I took for granted during school of, like, the rules of evidence, the rules of procedure, an elevated ethical expectation, a real understanding about how even if you're not a practicing attorney, because I'm not, the moment you graduate law school, whether you're practicing or not, pass the bar or not, especially if you do, the people who know you did that will hold your words higher than most other people in society. That goes for politicians. That goes for senior leaders in business. That goes for leaders of a church. That goes for leaders in your community, whether that be your doctor, your attorney, all of that. There is a general elevation of your opinion, your point of view, all of these different things. And it is that appreciation I just articulated is getting defecated on right now in our country. And so the thing that isn't a human that I appreciate and appreciate more than ever is something that I think a lot of people are taking for granted. And it's when you cast doubt on everything, then people will start questioning everything. And our society, and people can always say, well, you should question everything. Try it. Try waking up and questioning everything. What would it feel like? Think of the country as a house.
Okay.
What would it feel like at your house when you wake up after a night's rest?
Okay.
You can't even put your foot on the ground because you're afraid the foundation may fall in. Not that it has any likelihood to,
But you're questioning it.
but you're questioning it.
Yeah.
Now, you may eventually put your foot on the floor and be like, okay, well, it's just as solid as yesterday.
Yeah. But
the thought of it with everything.
Yeah.
Should I brush my teeth? I'm not sure this water's clean.
Yeah. True.
Should I use the camera when I back out of the garage? I'm not sure that the lines it's showing me is true. Should I go on this green light? I'm not sure if someone on the that is running the red light. Think about you questioning everything and how less productive, less efficient, more stressed you would be.
More worried.
So again,
anxiety.
We would be anxiety filled. And right now, as a society, we are anxiety filled.
100%.
Kids, middle-aged adults are more stressed than they've ever been, and no one can argue that life is more stressful right now. No matter where you fall, ask your parents. So I think part of the contribution of stress and mental health, all of that, is that people are questioning and distrusting things that they never distrusted at the level they did ever before. And a lot of people cannot handle that level of anxiety.
Level of anxiety, which causes more problems with other stuff.
Yep.
Which is very, I think in America right now, to me, I'm not a statistical person, but it just seems like it's at an all-time high in anxiety.
Self-diagnosed, and I'll leave it at that. I won't.
You don't want to get me on anxiety because I'm going to tell you now, it's a luxury for you people, but we're going to leave it there. It's just a luxury. Just let that soak in for the ones who do think they got it. Just know that's a luxury. But
yeah. They won't get that.
Yeah, but no, good.
Getting able to stop and wallow in sorrow, like that's some new stuff, y'all. Y'all don't understand. Like stress has always been here. You're like, you think your parents weren't stressed?
Yeah, I don't want to go to work today. I'm gonna just stay in bed and sleep because I got anxiety.
Things that would never. And again,
but I'm not making fun of people who have serious problems.
But I think we all can agree that there are some that overdo it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I do, but I mean, anybody that can get the benefit of it to try to flip it to their need or their capital gain or luxury for them, they're gonna do it instead of actually, rolling up the sleeves and getting done what need to get done or doing what you need.
Weathering the storm.
Yeah,
because Lord knows, I've been stressed all of 2024.
But the level of that you showed how you handled it, and the level of handling it, and the ways you went about handling it, you wouldn't even for a person to see you just going to the grocery store wouldn't even notice, wouldn't even tell. You know what I'm saying? Even the people that you're close with still knew you got up every day. You know what I'm saying? You did whatever you need to do. You stayed in touch with the relationships, whatever it had to do. So for the level that you say, which 100% know you was, the level that you handle it, I mean, that's what you expect, but everybody can't and everybody won't.
That's what I expected myself. I did have. If you don't have an ego, stress management isn't as difficult.
Yes.
If you got friends and people you can lean on, and you don't have an ego that prevents you from telling them when you
right, then
it's not that difficult. But if you try to handle everything on your own
in the dark, on your own,
you're stressed.
Then you call that friend when you're on that last little stream, barely holding. And they be like, well, why did I know none of this before? Like,
no, you don't do it that way.
My fault, Sorry.
You don't have to. Yeah, anyway. All right, so to the sports part of this.
Patriots man is in the building over here.
I am a Patriots fan. Unapologetic.
He's still on the team. He's
yep.
Still a Patriots. Even
I'm excited for Mayo. I'm excited. I won't say I'm excited for our quarterback situation yet, but it's a new era. Like, I'm ready to see how it goes. But that's in the future. Let's look backwards.
Go back, okay.
I know and I can talk about how I feel, but I want to hear how you feel as a 49ers fan and as a fan of football.
Real football,
How
not
have you?
fantasy.
Yeah. How do you, as an outside fan of football, look at what looks like the reconciliation? Even though the reconciliation of that team, it didn't even look. Even if it was fake, they faked it pretty good.
It looked really good.
Yeah, if they faked it, I think it was genuine.
The years they put in, the years they put in, and for them to have what they did, the comedy roast with classic comedy, classic people. The roast she did, what was her name?
Nikki Glazer,
yes. She glazed it up real good. She killed it. So, but just that starting there.
Pause. She glazed it up really good.
She did her thing. She told Tom Brady what she'd do to him. Look, she did her thing.
She said that.
So, but that and the retirement ceremony, and them just laughing, having a good time and stuff. And
taking shots.
Yeah, taking shots, or whatever. But like I look at it like this though, like how they had the years, then they fell off a little bit, and then they, reconciled it, took their shots, but and came together to one, appreciate what was done between all three, the years they put in, the rings they did, the hard work they put in, the relationships they built. People acting like Brady or Belichek or somebody, done killed another person in the family or something when y'all, fall out with your brothers or sisters or something, and come back, talk to them, and a week later they done done way worse.
Yeah.
So like people act like they just wasn't supposed to. You're like, oh, that's just done and leave it at done.
Man, you can't.
People talk to
you can't spend 20 years with it.
Yeah, your homeboy done did something way worse to you. You bad friends with him next week, or probably never even was mad at him. Like,
yeah.
And they got 20 years of it. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like, it's people who don't talk to their parents for a couple years because something was said, but then they go back, and mend it or whatever.
Yeah.
So I loved it. It was great to see. I mean, and people can say it was for likes. It was for. I'm sure Netflix made a grip off that, and whoever else that got paid to do it, and people can say it was just for social media, whatever the case may be. But some stuff you can fake and some stuff you can't, and just the fun it was having at these events. You could, like, hey, I pay you to be here, fine. But you can't pay somebody to fake something that they really don't want to, what I'm saying? If I don't want to be here, you're going to sit on me or sit in my eyes, but for them to be able to enjoy it, and then the ceremony of the retirement, and he came out and all his old fans and Patriots loving him. I mean, he gave y'all 6 titles. So I mean, like,
the team won 6 titles.
6 titles. Yeah.
I wouldn't be a Patriots fan if I didn't.
Yeah. They won together.
We all did our job.
Right. Everybody did their job. And it's the thing though, like everybody that did their job,
they were
all there to celebrate it, appreciate it.
Even the people that were only there for a little while.
Right. Randy Moss was there a year. Was it 2 years? 2 years? There, didn't get to get a ring, but the relationship he built, with that, the records they broke.
Oh, God. That was the best team I've ever seen. I can't believe it. Anyway, we won't go into it.
They'll lighten it up. But just
that's the best football team I've ever watched ever.
Yeah. They lighten it up.
And there was no reason why they should have been. Nah. Even with Randy and Tom, I get it. They're Hall of Famers. But
so
yeah. I mean, well, that makes me feel good as a Patriots fan. Let me step back. As a friend of players who were in that locker room over those years, yes, which is also an advantage that I had.
Yes, you do.
Where, like, rest in peace, Ron. Like, I remember, I don't know if me and Dove were together, and he either called or we were just seeing what he was up to, and he had to go because he was backstage with Tom at a Jay-Z concert. which was funny because when they were like, "Why is Jay-Z performing? He don't perform anything. Why is he performing at Tom Brady?" They're really good friends.
Friends for how long?
They've been for that, which I get it, right? But like, anyway, people just look for stuff to be mad about now. But
it's social media, man.
as a fan, we didn't. It was just beautiful because everybody has an ego. Kraft has an ego. Brady has an ego. Belichick has an ego. All of them have egos.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, without Brady and Belichick, Kraft can't have an ego. Without Brady and, to a certain degree, Kraft allowing him the freedom that he was able to enjoy for all those years, Belichick doesn't have what he had. Mm-hmm. And Tom, without Belichick and without the support of Kraft in a real way, when how they had to win had to change, and Bill had to get a little nudging to change faster and trust. It all works together.
Yes.
And so as fans, as a fan, it was just, I never thought they hated each other. I just think after years you wear thin on it.
I think 20-year relationship.
Look, I remember how I had to step down as pole mark in our chapter. Bro, when you drive people hard and lead people hard and ask a lot of them, even if things are going well, there is a shelf life to that type of intensity. Mm-hmm. And Bill was never going to walk. He was always going to have to be treated like he treated his players. I'm not saying you're bad at what you do. You're just not worth it to me. He's had to have that conversation with players over and over again. And a lot of them come back because they're open about it. Go get your money because you're not getting it from us.
Right.
It doesn't mean I don't think you're good.
Yeah.
It's the cost that you bring is not worth the value you bring.
Correct.
And I think you can go, well, I don't really care if they get value. But I care about you. So you can go get paid and you always have a place back. Yep. So whether you're Jamie Collins, whether you're Kyle Van Noy, whether you're Ray Flowers, whether you're these guys who went and got paid.
Got their money.
Where could they always come back to? And did.
Yeah. Open doors too.
So it was good to see. So
I mean, that's the thing. I think just how they handled that. I mean, 20-year relationship. I mean, how many times you gonna argue? How many times you gonna argue with your sibling over the 20 years y'all been, of age to mirror arguments?
My dad was my coach.
It's saying,
I know how it is.
You done had with that, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you like
shit on the court, father's way at the kitchen table.
Yeah, so I mean, and they around each other long time, year on year.
More than you are with your family.
Right, studying with each other. Then after the season, they still playing the off season, all that stuff. So I mean, it was gonna have some ups and downs and disagreements, and for them to go away for a little bit, I think it goes back to for them when they went away, they realized that they appreciated each other more than what they probably seen at the moment when they did separate, which goes back to appreciation. But they was able to see it and they appreciate all those years they had it with each other, that they did with each other, the rings they got together. All that goes back to this moment here where they had the retirement ceremony and then the comedy roast and stuff, to where it was all they appreciate each other.
Last thing, you think he regretted agreeing to that roast? Or he had to say that because of the kids?
I don't think he regretted. I don't think he seen how much they was going to come for him, though.
They came for him, and they went overtime because it was live, what people forget.
Right.
It was during
100% live.
It was during Netflix Comedy Festival where all the comics from around the world were in L.A.
Yes.
That's why they were able to get all those people at the
people
FedEx Forum, and it was sold
deep.
out.
It was deep.
Live. Most people have seen it. But yeah, I don't think he thought it was going to be about 3.5 hours.
No, I didn't think
he was hostage.
He knew about it.
He was
So something's gonna
hostage.
come, but like,
He was hostage.
yeah,
He
like,
couldn't leave.
the level that they brung it in, they brung it.
God.
Don't think he knew they was coming that heavy.
Yeah.
Think somebody probably sugarcoated it a little bit. Oh, they just gonna surface jokes.
They paid him well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well,
They paid him
look,
well.
okay. How much would you, if you're Brady, not like if we're who we are, if you're Brady, how much would it take for 3 hours in a roast?
For a roast, if I'm Brady after 6 championships, got a contract of
Don't need money.
don't need money, kids is good. Yeah, you gonna have to hit me with 100, 100 mil.
Hell no.
You gonna have to hit me with 100 mil. Cause you won. I mean, like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
100 mil, stop.
100
Be
mil.
for real. That's a damn movie budget.
That is, but that's the thing though. It's a movie. 3.5 hours. Back times 10.
I would be.
But I think. I mean, realistically though, I mean, like, I don't even know if he did it for the money.
I don't think he did it for the money, but he's got to get
Now
some.
he got to get some. So I think he probably got.
Because that shit's gonna stream forever. Like,
I want a
that's
percentage.
that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
what?
But I mean, think about it. If 100 million is going to be equal to the percentage, I'm probably asking for because that thing's taking off and it blew up across social
Yeah,
media.
but they don't get paid direct. You know how streaming works.
Yeah, it's overtime and stuff.
So if I were to throw you a number, it would take. I'd have done that. Even if I knew what was coming, I'd have done that for 7 to 10 million.
Really?
Yeah.
I was thinking you were going to say about 20, 25.
No, that's not real. I don't have a clue. Actually, let me stop saying it's not realistic. I
think he at least going to get 20 off of it.
Well, if you're thinking an appearance, no. If you think an appearance fee, it's gonna take you 2 to 3 million to get him in the room.
In there, but now you got the focal point of
Yeah. So that's why I say 7 to 10, and then probably some residuals off of streams. But it ain't gonna be a ton.
Did they pay? So you think they pay like Kevin Hart and them?
Yeah.
Being there, paying them appearance, or just
probably not too much.
Too much, but appearance to come.
I'd be willing to bet that would cost $1 million.
Okay. To get up there and host it a little bit.
Yeah.
Ain't bad.
So I think
I'm curious.
No more than 12 million. I wouldn't think. Maybe though. Maybe.
I'm curious how much streams off of it because.
Oh, I mean,
that thing shot.
Come on, man. That thing got watched so much.
But that's what I'm sitting here thinking, like,
in 24 hours.
If he should have probably got a percentage off his streams because, like, just think about just the streams alone, like, that's more than
I'm sure
boxing max.
I'm sure he's like executive producer. Like, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's tied into it. Royalties for years on. I mean, this gonna be like one of those classics.
Oh, it's the. You know what I'm saying? It's like, the most ruthless roast I've ever seen.
Right. So I mean, it's gonna be like a.
It was ruthless.
Some of us go back and look at Chappelle.
Yeah.
It's gonna be something like that. Just years to come. 5 years pull it in like, let's go rewrite this.
Man.
Sitting in there, people in college dorms. You remember we used to just be in the dorms and.
You were too good to know me in the dorms.
Not dorms, but
I was
college days in the crib.
Worthy of Death Row Records.
We're like a comedy
on. Suge Knight over here.
We're turning a comedy on or something. Hey.
Don't take my chain.
Don't take my. I have my 2 gold chains.
Whatever.
Oh, man.
I didn't even. I don't know that I ever even rode in the Isuzu, but that's okay.
Zuzu with the screen. first, real quick moment. First week up here. Before school started, I came up here to do physical and stuff like that. Rehab. First week I go on Dixon. And I got the Zuzu. Green, the rims, green, black background, lime green lights inside. And I'm like, I don't know what this street is, but we're going to go down there. A bunch of people. I turn my stuff all the way up, blasting. Drop my screen. I'm right. I get pulled up by police. My dumb ass didn't have the lights on my car on the outside. I didn't have my headlights on. And I'm just thinking I'm hot shit blasting through Dixon. And I ain't even got my lights on and get pulled over.
Did you get a ticket?
I got a warning. No, I did. It was a warning too, I think, for the music. I got hit with the music and lights, but I think I got a warning for music too.
They know that. But when we were in back in our day, they didn't get parking tickets, and UAPD didn't really give. You had to be extremely rush drunk, meaning everybody knows how some folks get when they're rushing. And bro, that time, man, the level of alcohol consumption is just off the charts. We don't do that like that.
Nah.
That's just. There was very little alcohol involved. Was there any alcohol involved in our? We can't really talk about it. But
if we was
but I don't think so.
We was getting some to prepare to help make some Noop juice for a party.
Yeah,
type of thing.
Now you know damn well we didn't make no Noop juice.
Drink. Nah, hell no.
No, we didn't have to, and we didn't make anybody.
No,
we made them make alcoholic drinks, but
but those supplying parties or something.
Yeah.
That we was having, or some event or something like that. So,
I don't know.
You see my New York phone case, since I love New York so much.
Why do you love New York so much, bro? It's like the opposite of who you are.
It's something magical about it to me. I don't know what. I only been through Christmas, so once I probably go when it ain't Christmas or whatever.
Yeah. Fucking hate that place. I like the tourist stuff, but I don't like.
I ain't never been in Cali, and I swear I love with Cali swag.
You went to Cali, you went to San Diego.
Well, see, I mean, like LA swag, like the Cali Compton. I swear, I just like that style.
So you want to go to like non-tourist shit?
Yeah, non-tourist shit. I really don't.
Okay,
because I saw I would have been. I really don't. But I just like they swag and how they, dress and something about them a little bit.
Most of the people you
West Coast,
are referring to ain't locals.
Probably not.
They're transplants.
Probably so.
It's like it's like coming to Northwest Arkansas to learn about Arkansans. It's like some of us are here. A lot of us did not grow up here.
Correct. I mean,
there is a difference.
When we first came to school, there's so many people from Texas than anything.
Texas, Kansas City,
all that, Oklahoma coming over this way
now.
Yep. Texas got more Arkansas people than Texas now, though. A lot of people from went up there, whatever, they end up back down that way now. A lot of people that come from Texas to go to U of A, they go back down that way too when they go to school.
Fuck. I gotta take all that shit out of that audio. I'll kill you, Kidra.
Shit, man. Hey, that's the beauty of life and appreciation. Is just small little moments and enjoying them, appreciating. What if it's reminiscing on something or chatting and just the freedom to sit and chat. We take a lot of that stuff for granted that other people in other countries would cut a worm off the half.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Whatever it's called now, I don't tweet often. Whatever.
X-rated. X factor.
I X'd.
The X.
But I was talking about like how I now get how our elders truly enjoyed sitting on the porch and talking to their friends, either in person or on the cordless phone, who seemingly swept the porch or it wasn't many patios, but the back of the house.
Right. I mean, that's the thing.
Over and over, swept the polish off that bitch because they were just
in peace, motion.
Yeah, they were just in motion and talking and doing all that.
Been doing this past week is waking up in the mornings and watering the grass. No shoes, no socks, and just
grounding
with sprinkler, water hose, and good temperature, quiet.
Yeah,
going through the motion.
I'm Stanley, I tell you, boy. I gotta make sure my lawn green,
Don't
bro.
walk across my line.
Yeah, Make sure it's green, man. They be mad.
Go around. I don't even let my kids.
Oh, your lawn looks so great. What are you doing to it? Do you use fairway lawns? Yeah, but it ain't green because of them.
I'll do fairway like
That's
that.
just a little bit. I'll do a little bit more, baby.
Little son, you gotta do a little hand self care too with it.
Yeah.
Just leave it
Well, I mean, my sprinklers do it. I don't even water. I don't even water the side yard now. I moved it. I got secondary.
I do side here and there, but mainly just the front.
Well, I do now. I did because I didn't want to move those sprinklers. And then I realized I had 2 more plates because I had to send some back. So I had 2. So I just set up the side yard position with the other plates. So all I got to do is move the sprinkler
and put it there,
and put it there, and it doesn't know the difference.
I need to start doing the backyard more.
Yeah. So
that's the one that really needed back.
But you saw how you got to grind it.
Yeah.
Because your backyard is like that back area there, and it's fucking rough. All right.
I don't even want to mess with it.
All right, so we got to re-up on our dark rye.
Basil Hayden rye. It's actually really good. People.
It is really good. It's not Angel Envy good, but it's close.
Right. So if you can get your hands on it, try to get some. I need to get some. Try to see if I go to the local store and find some. I'm sure it's on the shelf, but it's really good though.
So what did you have?
So
you talking about
today's events. Let's go back to my question real quick. Let's see. So, since 1990, basically when we was born, we haven't had a great power conflict. Now, that looks like we're conflict now. And in today's world, now it looks like that's where we headed. And do you think we are prepared?
Yep. I got the question. Not yet. We're prepared.
Yeah, not yet.
No, I don't think we're prepared. I think there's been multiple generations since World War II, Korea. I won't say Vietnam because that was rightfully protested against, and I think American views on foreign war is still shaped largely by Vietnam, but also people didn't really say a lot about Iraq in the way that it could have been, early on.
Right.
There was, in fact, Continuum is one of my favorite albums of all time, and John Mayer has a couple of anti-war songs on it. But we're decadent, man. We've been since the end of the Cold War was in 90, 88 to 92, really. And what you call a peace dividend, which is as you've been investing for years and years and years and years in military equipment and bases and all of that, once your threat level goes down, what they call a peace dividend is a country's ability to take what they had been devoting to their military and defense and now use it on other things. I won't say the West has benefited from that for many, many, many years. We have not, as a populace, come to the understanding that everything ain't sweet, that there are people out here who want to totally change the way the world works. Yeah. And will do so by force. And, we have the luxury. You talked about anxiety is a luxury. We also have a luxury to be idealistic, to always talk about how things should be, acting like we're the only ones that can make things happen in the world, and there's others out here that don't have a vote, that can't influence stuff.
Correct.
And I don't think us as citizens have come to grips with how splintered we are within, and how that in and of itself is a contribution to why so many countries feel like now is the time to try and reshape the world, because America's distracted. They can't agree on anything.
Mm-hmm.
They don't believe anything. Institutions are being distrusted. They're a poor example of democracy. They don't even believe in their own elections. You got guys who are being convicted who are party nominees. No one's excited about the future. All of these things aren't things I've made up. These are things that if I am a strategist. If I was in another country, I would be looking at all these factors and saying, if not now, then it's never.
Mm-hmm. This is the only time to do
They
it.
don't even want to give money to Ukraine. They can't even agree on support of Israel, what it should or shouldn't be anymore. That used to be nonpartisan. That used to be something that we so agreed on, it wasn't even really debated, because it was just like we were on. And I'm not saying things shouldn't be debated, but to get to your point about great power conflict, China is growing their military at a clip that hasn't been seen since the United States entered World War II. Let me repeat. China is in a state of military expansion, the likes of which we haven't seen since America entered the World War II. Think about what's happening in Ukraine and how many shells they're using and how much they've underestimated the amount of artillery they need, the amount of tanks they need, the amount of blood they need, the amount of air defense systems they need, all of these things that seem trivial when you're just going to work every day in America. If a conflict broke out today, it would take us years to ramp up to the level we need to be able to win that long war.
Well,
That's not acceptable to me.
no. So we're not even prepared at all.
We can't even have the conversation about being prepared, because, like we've talked about in a prior episode about how this money sent to Ukraine is, a lot of it is a vehicle called drawdown, which allows us to send equipment from our storage, our stockpiles, to Ukraine, and the dollar value is deducted based on the value of that vehicle. That has been a way, as we've talked before, for us to invest and start growing munitions and expanding things like infantry training in Fort Chaffee and Patriot missile systems in Camden. We talked about that. But it would be great if the president could come and talk to Americans and say, look, as bad as we have it in your eyes, or if you don't think we have it bad, no matter what you think of where we are, there is Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, at the minimum, that are trying to come for our lunch, that don't share our values, that are willing to do whatever it takes. You think we're dishonest? You think we're imperialistic? You think we don't care about our people? Look at them. Look at them. They've lost more people in less than 2 years, or just at 2 years, a little over 2 years, than we lost in World War II.
Wow.
They are at that level of just throwing bodies at bullets. If they don't care about their own people, what makes you think they're going to come and all of a sudden give you a fair shot in it? It's absurd. If people are willing to come to a nightclub and arrest your child or your husband or whatever, your brother,
Yo.
put them in a prison, ship them to the border, give them 2 to 5 days of training, and put them on the front line, and you think they're gonna consider your life? You think where you live today is worse than that? Are you crazy?
Yikes.
Are you crazy? When we talk about a lack of privacy, when you hear, and most people probably didn't hear about it, but when you hear about a jump drive in a Shanghai police station being found, this was a few years ago or a year or so ago, I don't know, a year or two ago, that had the personal information of every citizen in the city. Can you imagine? Yes, we have illegal surveillance programs, and yes, all of it. And I don't want to cede my rights, but I live in the real world.
Right.
Other societies use our society against us. Our laws, our consideration, our ethics, the limits that our people are going to ensure our government never crosses, all of these things. When those countries show that they're willing to hold you to your high standards and ignore any standard of their own, it's time to wake up. And that's what great power conflict requires. You know, and I don't want to sound like a warmonger, but the best way to prevent war is to deter war. That's the best way, to never let it even happen. And the only way you can not allow it to happen is to make sure that it is very, very, very clear we have what it takes to wipe the floor with you.
That's what I was
and we have the willingness to do it. You've gone too damn far. And I'm hopeful, Rakeem, that we're at a place now where it looks like the West is like, okay, enough's enough. I've left the door open for years. I've been called timid. I've tried not to escalate this thing. But at the end of the day, you're not seeing that as a signal that I'm trying to give you an off-ramp. You're seeing that as a signal of a lack of resolve and weakness, and that's over. We're going to give them whatever it takes. We're going to train them. We're going to take the gloves off. We're going to take the restrictions off. They can strike you in Crimea. They can strike you in Belgorod. They can strike you in Kharkiv. They can strike you everywhere you try to find refuge and are waging war on Ukraine. We are now gradually allowing them to go after you wherever you are. Kidnapping kids, raping women, stealing from citizens, bombing churches, all of this stuff that feels like propaganda. Yeah. It just feels like it can't be believed.
Right.
Oh.
So we taking it.
With it's video evidence of it. It's been there for years.
So you think now we at that point that we taking the gloves off and just train them, do what y'all got to do, no restrictions. Let's finish this. Or are we still? We don't know.
I think
I
don't think it's not a light switch,
right?
But I think we're done turning the dial down.
Okay.
And we're gradually turning it up. We are trying to. It feels like we are trying to diplomatically and militarily help seize the initiative. Which in military terms, it would be akin to being like on the back foot or the front foot.
But ain't that when people want to strike too, is when they think you're busy with somebody else, tied up in something else, that's when they're like, oh, let's try to, you know what I'm saying? Ain't that how kind of what Pearl Harbor kind of happened in a way when they did that? We was in the midst of into it with what was it, Vietnam?
No, it wasn't Vietnam. We were supporting the Allies.
Somebody.
We were supporting Russia. We were supporting Britain and France and all that. But we weren't in the war. It was very similar the state of play was very similar. Uh, it wasn't similar. What can be similar, seen as similar, is that we are materially supporting Ukraine right now in the way that we were materially supporting the Allies before we entered.
And that's when the people think they can. Oh, let's go get them now. If we keep turning the dial up.
That's a longer story because, number one, most people believe that was the biggest mistake in military history, Japan.
Okay.
That we have a penchant to be isolationists.
Correct.
And that the public wasn't on board with us entering the war. They were only on board with us providing. They weren't on board with sending men and women.
Correct.
And that, men and women. But they were okay with supporting them with materials because of jobs and things like that. Very similar to this.
Correct.
The reason why it was a mistake was some see it as a mistake. I understand the Japanese point of view. They had to say, well, they're not in the war now, but they might get in it. Mm-hmm. The public isn't on their side now, but the public may get on their side.
Got you.
So, if we think they're going to enter the war eventually,
we need to get them.
We're the Pacific power. Everybody else is land power.
Yeah.
You know, Germans had U-boats and stuff that patrolled Europe and the coast, but it wasn't a transatlantic wholesale operation.
Right.
For Japan being an island nation and just how huge the Pacific is, once those I try to I'm not trying to act like a military expert here, by the way. This is just my understanding of history and the consideration.
Breaking it down for you to understand though, like what's going on, and a lot of people I think in America get caught up in just their surrounding and not realizing the realistic threat that could happen, or that we may not be prepared for, that we get caught off guard or whatever, or we need a lot of people say we need to mind our own business. Mm-hmm. We need to stick to being American and only worry about America. Is then one of them, so like,
yep.
No, all this ties together and play a part for if something was to happen, or when we get to that or something, and that's the thing. It's like it ain't talked about enough. I think personally, and that's the what we hear not for is just what we hear discussed, because we just see it as, go day to day, especially a lot of people in today's world where they don't turn the TV on. And then you got to be subscribed to some of these news channels to mainly even catch the news of what's going on out here in the world in general.
Yep.
So, I mean, like, a lot of people don't know what's going on. So when a lot of people about to go vote, you don't even know what you're voting for, just that what social media painted a picture of is in, your financials is
Or you believe a guy like Trump when he says, I'll end the war in 48 hours. And even if you don't believe that, like, when you don't understand the complexities or not even complexities, everything doesn't have to be seen complexly. It's pretty straightforward. Like we've talked about before, for instance, the Houthi rebels, right? If you're working you're like, why would I give a shit, Brenden? And you shouldn't care about them. But when they're shooting off rockets with your Amazon orders and your Walmart orders and your furniture and your cars and all of your goods that are made overseas, which that's more of a Europe problem than most of our goods don't pass through the Red Sea, but that you get the point. And you wonder, why was my package delayed, or why is this cost more now, or why can't I do X, Y, and Z, or why is insurance up, or why?
That's why.
Yeah, like when a boat can't cross a particular strait without getting a missile lobbed at it.
Costs going up.
Yeah, guess what?
Whatever
Guess
they
what? Guess
transport.
what? The insurance companies
Whatever
that
they
insure that boat are going to be. You need to find a different route. I need you to. Well, but that'll add 7 days.
7 days.
We'll add it.
And cost more too, because 7 days means cost more in fuel for the boat to go.
Absolutely. Can you have anybody who's seen a cargo vessel? It is massive. Imagine if you insured it. Everything, not just the boat, which when it's empty
All
is
the products
expensive.
on it too.
All the products. And you understand.
Yeah.
You work in transportation and logistics. You understand who has possession of those goods. Whoever's flagging that vessel.
Yep. Whoever's rolling it. So they better have a high insurance cost that be able to handle all those goods. Once those goods is checked into there, that's on them. If goods get lost, that's on them. Those goods get stolen, that's on them. Missile hit that ship.
So when you are wondering how this matters, EV batteries. Well, a lot of the battery investment has been done in China. We don't want that to happen. We don't want a situation where they already control 60-70% of rare earth minerals that go into batteries of the future. We don't want them to continue to control those industries, and they're trying to. Russia's trying to get Donbass and Donetsk and all this other Crimea and other areas, which you're like, why do I care about Eastern Ukraine? Well, it matters because a lot of the metals and minerals and materials that we're going to need in the 21st century to build some of the new technologies, whether that's semiconductors, electronics,
the stuff
cars,
that you want to go get,
batteries,
or keep your phone updated, or keep your car updated, it ain't just coming out of America. That's
most of it isn't. The vast majority of it isn't. You know what one of the most important reserves of those rare earth minerals is that is not being mined and unexplored? It's in eastern Ukraine. They don't just want Ukraine because of culture,
because of the land that
they want the minerals, they want the oil, they want the grain, they want all of it. They don't want it just because they want to reunite.
New technology is there.
This stuff is real. When we add Finland and Sweden to NATO, why does that matter? You know where a lot of this stuff is also? It's in the Arctic. And as the world warms and we're able to get to places in the Arctic that we otherwise never could get to because the ice is loosening, the amount of materials and money that will help drive down costs for Americans for the foreseeable future are in these places. It matters that there are allies.
Yep.
It matters.
And we protect them too.
We protect them. We only have one or two icebreakers. Right. What people don't get. Like you can't just sail through glaciers with a boat. You have to have specialized equipment. Yep. We don't have that. Why would we? But guess who does, and guess who can buy us time so that we can start making sure that we lay claims and allies are able to protect their territorial waters. So I say all that to say we are not prepared for great power conflict.
No.
We as a populace do not care.
No, I don't
about the bigger picture.
And I think that's the bigger problem as we as a populace. If we cared or knew about the bigger picture, maybe that'll drive us to be more prepared.
I agree. Well, and this is why it matters. Let me make sure I don't say that without saying why it matters. It matters because if you were to say, Brenden, I don't have time to think about that. I got a job. I'm trying to put food on the table, all that. That inflation kicking your ass. Not being trained for the jobs of the future kick your ass. Guess what also helps you? When we have a 10-year commitment to military orders so that you or your kid can at least know for 10 years they got, I'm not saying they're going to guarantee a job, but there's going to be enough orders for them to be able to have one.
Yeah.
And if I do work there, and let's just say something does change, I would have updated my skills to higher end manufacturing so that I can go work on some of these places in Arizona, in Columbus, Ohio, at these semiconductor factories working this very expensive new equipment versus some of these old archaic things from traditional manufacturing. Like it may not matter on the details of the issue, but preparedness in history for America, whenever we needed to be prepared and we got prepared, we had economic prosperity for decades following. So this isn't a zero-sum game. Like, we need to be telling, hey, we do need more 155 millimeter artillery. And guess what? Let's just expand our capacity to make it. We need more fuses.
To make it too, though.
Exactly. We need on top of that, people trained to do it.
So then on top of that too, we need people in the warehouse to make the parts for this stuff. Well, guess what too? In today's society, we ain't got too many people that want to work nowadays to be working to be doing that stuff. They don't want to weld. They want to be social media or whatever the case may be, influencers, whatever the case may be, instead of doing that. So then, not only that, we complain about the people that's coming across the border illegally, but I guarantee they ready to go work though. And that's what we need, is the people to go get in these factories to make the stuff that we actually need to be putting in the technology or into the military equipment and stuff, welding or whatever the case may be, which is those 12-hour shift jobs. You in a half fatty sweating, you dirty as all get out, but you getting a check and stuff. We don't, America, as an American, and where America is right now, our young that's coming up or whatever, they are living off their luxury.
Yep, we're decadent, as foreigners call it.
Yeah,
but a reckoning is coming. Like, I think if we get through this election, it'll be more clear.
Yeah, I think so.
Because here's the thing, man. Like, and I don't have the laundry list. There's a lot of things right now that is taxpayer funded. The money is
right there.
Is there. And we don't even have enough bodies
to do it. We ain't got the people to do it.
And we're at a historic low unemployment. And so that's when I talk about long-term prosperity.
We ain't got the bodies.
We are at a low unemployment rate with large amounts of jobs that are unfilled still.
That we need people in.
And let's talk about immigration next time, because that is what people do not understand. All of these open jobs out here, and it's a sub 4% unemployment rate. So real unemployment virtually doesn't exist.
Right.
And that doesn't mean you're happy in your job. I'm just saying people have jobs.
You got a job.
You might be underemployed. I get it. Please don't be an asshole.
But you got a job. You get a check.
You got to. So, but there are too many jobs out here that can't be filled.
Yes. And we are creating more jobs as
we see the threat, but there's not people.
But it's not people to be able to put in these positions for these jobs. And that's why, like, we either bringing people from other countries to either come help and learn and stuff,
or why we build things in Italy.
Yes,
why we build military things and expanding things in Australia.
Allies, yes, that's why we got allies to get stuff, to get goods and stuff, because we don't have enough people to fill in to put all those jobs in America. And that's another thing I think go people's heads. So, like you said, I mean, immigration, we can easily speak on that next time on today's work, because a lot of people just looking at it like, oh, you letting all these people in and stuff. Okay, but as you sitting on the couch, probably ain't working or whatever, are you going to go do the job that I guarantee you some of the people coming across the country are willing to go do real quick? They ready to go work.
I'll leave you with this, because we got to go. At one point, and in any given year, California produces 20 to 25% of produce that America consumes. It's an insane amount, and it's an insane number, and it makes me so damn nervous every time that much of our food is being produced in one place. But either way, who is going out there to
who picking those strawberries? Because ain't no machine.
I live down the street from a strawberry and blueberry patch. People go do that for giggles. Imagine that was your 12-hour-a-day job.
What's that?
Every day. You're not doing that every day. I do not care what anyone says. The vast majority of Americans do not want to handshake bushes for blueberries.
No.
Acres at a time.
And I don't think they got machines made to do that yet, do they?
Well, berries more than any are virtually got to be done. If not by hand.
By hand, right? Yeah.
Certainly with some help, but it ain't like a big ass combine.
Yeah.
Or you'll smush them all like they're too delicate. But you want your dragon fruit. You want your blueberries or blackberries.
You want your organic.
You want the cotton for your shirt.
Yeah.
You want soybeans. You don't
it's
understand
jobs.
where your corn syrup is coming
It's
from.
jobs.
Like,
and then nowadays, especially with people having a voice, younger generations having a platform, and having to be able to a different route to go and pursue different things in career. Nothing against the people that's out there pursuing different things in careers, influence, or whatever the case may be, but those jobs that give us these materials to want to eat good and look good and on camera or whatever the case may be, somebody got to be able to get the stuff to produce it. Not that's why we outsource to these other countries.
that H&M, that Zara, that
all that
ASOS, that
all that Fabletics,
all of that stuff that you're able to get.
Nike, all that.
Bro, you're not. Do you know how expensive that stuff would be if it was like, okay. Anyway, I am not anti-American jobs, and I'm not pro let everybody in and don't worry about it.
No, but I'm just saying jobs in the field and our stuff come.
And this is let me finish this thought. My thought on that is, it's not to say that immigrants should only have farm jobs and hard jobs and dirty jobs.
No.
Not at all.
Nowhere near.
Most immigrants don't. But the face of immigration are immigrants from our southern border. They're not immigrants from India and the UK and places where we have relationships. You don't see them that way. Yeah. But there's a lot of the jobs that you want that are being actually taken up by immigrants from other countries. But because you don't perceive them as immigrants, you don't give a shit that's why you didn't get that promotion in your 6-figure job or your 55. That's why you didn't go from 55 to 70. You're blaming somebody from the southern border who ain't even trying to get your job. Yeah. So what I want us as Americans to do is to prepare for the manufacturing jobs of the future that can't be outsourced.
Yes.
Look at the critical components like semiconductors, like certain raw materials that go into things like batteries. Look at Kenya now as a major non-NATO ally of America. Kenya. And part of it is because of what they're doing technologically on the continent of Africa. And how important that is going to be able to also make certain materials in Africa to help us, to help them, but also to reduce the cost so you're not having to mine toxic metals that you haven't looked at since you've seen a periodic table like californium and stuff like that goes into these missiles that protect you. Be able to produce it over there and develop them. So, are we prepared for great power conflict? No. Are we even open to understanding things a little bit more? I'm not convinced.
Not yet.
And what is going to happen if we don't get on it? I'm not sure. It makes me very nervous.
Yes.
We are going to be in a state of conflict for the next decade, in my opinion.
Ooh.
And the chances that there isn't a war that we're involved in directly is not high. So we need to get our mind right.
You gotta get right, yeah.
Because this will be a righteous.
This
will be a righteous one. Because right now, whether you like it or not, you don't want to live like some of these other places.
No.
You don't want to send your kid to war and the only thing he gets is a car with no transmission. These are real things. You get a GI Bill. You get benefits. You get the VA, as bad as it can be at times. You get these things, whether you're in war or not. These folks are getting put on the front lines of a World War II like trench war. And when they come back, all they get is, thank you, rest up. We'll send you back soon.
Hey.
You got guys on the front line with one eye because they just put a patch on it and told you to get back out there. They're going to North Korea to get North Koreans to help fight. Our motherland, they're going and getting Africans and paying them so that they can be cannon fodder on the front lines so Russia can advance a few square meters. It's treacherous. And when you see treachery, it's better to confront it before you are involved in it.
Because we get involved in it, y'all think inflation is hard now. Let's get involved.
Oh, and we're going to want blood. That's the thing. We don't do half-ass in America. And I think that's part of the consideration. I'm not saying Biden has made every right choice in this. I think that's the consideration. Once you get it going, we're America, man.
Yeah.
We're in this because you made us.
Right.
And we're going to end it.
Now we full coming. We ain't going to partially.
We got all these toys.
Kick you, then kick you down and hold your hand and help you up.
We got all these toys that nobody knows about that we always wait for the next war to show off.
Just show it off. Yeah.
They can't even defeat Ukraine with our hand-me-downs. What do you think they're going to do? Like we would, and I'm not saying this in like a Call of Duty, like, because I'm 34. I won't even be drafted.
Right. I won't either.
If I'm drafted, we are really
in
bad shape. So I don't play Cavalier. You got kids. I got kids. I don't want them.
I got boys that in 10 years or something, they can.
I don't want to see nobody's. But at the end of the day, if you got to do it, let's let them know not to fuck around. So sorry, I got.
I'm training some baby assassins. I don't want to see mine out there.
And we got to reconstitute our military. We've been built to fight terrorists and militias and stuff like that, and like it might be old school artillery and counter artillery and maneuver warfare and combined arms, infantry advancement, and engineers and forts and fortifications and like everybody's used to Call of Duty and being in Nuketown and thinking a war is just two houses facing each other. It's like no,
more missiles and everything. It's strategic everything. So,
all right,
Call of Duty, Blackout 6 coming. Go ahead and send that to us, Blackout, so we can get that free trial going and try it out for free.
You got anything else before we?
Just appreciate you. Say it all the time. The key to it is appreciation, and it's always good to see what you appreciate, who appreciates you, especially the times you need it. So,
well, I appreciate you. I've said it earlier in the episode, but you're always there for me, and I try to be as well, and that's what it's all about.
yeah, it's all what it is, man. It is, man. Sometimes it's just simple things, people. You ain't got to overcomplicate it. That's it. So, I'm with it, though.
All right, well, there's more to come, and we'll see you soon.
See y'all soon, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in.